When I was growing up, my mom had a pin cushion that looked like a tomato, just like this. When Beezus pushed the button on the box, the tape measure snapped back inside. The box also had pins, needles, and a thimble. Beezus never wore a thimble, but she thought it would be nice to have one in case she ever wanted to use one. A thimble. What do you think a thimble is? Does anybody know, or do you have to ask your mom and dad? Oh, Aunt Beatrice, she said, it's the most wonderful sewing box in the world. I'll make you 2 pot holders for Christmas. Then, as Aunt Beatrice laughed, Beezus clapped her hand over her mouth. The pot holder was supposed to be a surprise. Ramona had unwrapped a little steam shovel made out of red and yellow plastic, which she was now pushing happily across the rug. Breathlessly, Beezus lifted the lid of the second box. Oh, Aunt Beatrice, she exclaimed as she lifted out a dress that was a lovely shade of blue. It's just the right shade of blue to match your eyes, explained Aunt Beatrice. Is it really? Asked Beezus, delighted that her pretty young aunt liked blue eyes. She was about to tell her about being Sacagawea for the PTA when Father came home from work, and before long dinner was on the table. Mother lit the candles and turned off the dining room light. How pretty everything looks, thought Beezus. I wish we had candles on the table every night. After Father had served the chicken and mashed potatoes and peas, and Mother had passed the hot rolls, Beezus decided the time had come to tell Aunt Beatrice about being Sacagawea. Do you know what I did last week? She asked. I want some jelly, said Ramona. You mean please pass the jelly, corrected Mother, while Beezus waited patiently. No, what did you do last week? Asked Aunt Beatrice. Well, last week Beezus began again. I like purple jelly better than red jelly, said Ramona. Ramona, stop interrupting your sister, said Father. Well, I do like purple jelly better than red jelly, insisted Ramona. Never mind, said Mother. Go on, Beezus. Last week, said Beezus, looking at her aunt, who smiled as if she understood. Excuse me, Beezus, Mother cut in. Ramona, we do not put jelly on our mashed potatoes. I like jelly on my mashed potatoes. Ramona stirred potato and jelly around on her fork. Ramona, you heard what your mother said. Father looked stern. If I can put butter on my mashed potatoes, why can't I put jelly? I put butter and jelly on toast, said Ramona. Father couldn't help laughing. That's a hard question to answer. But Mother, Beezus said. I like jelly on my mashed potatoes, interrupted Ramona, looking sulky. You can't have jelly on your mashed potatoes because you aren't supposed to, said Beezus crossly. Hip, hip, hooray, forgetting Sacagawea for the moment. That's as good an answer as any, agreed Father. There are some things we don't do because we aren't supposed to. Ramona looked even more sulky. Where is my merry sunshine? Mother asked. Ramona scowled. I am too a merry sunshine, she shouted angrily. Ramona, said Mother quietly, you may go to your room until you can behave yourself. Serves you right, too, thought Beezus. I am too a merry sunshine, insisted Ramona, but she got down from the table and ran out of the room. Whoa, 2 times in 1 chapter she gets put in timeout. Everyone was silent for a moment. Beezus, what was it you were trying to tell me? Asked Aunt Beatrice. And finally, Beezus got to tell about leading Lewis and Clark to Oregon with a doll tied to Mother's breadboard for a papoose, and how her teacher told her what a clever girl she was. Hip, hip, hooray! To think of using a breadboard for a papoose board. Somehow she did not feel the same about telling the story after all Ramona's interruptions. Being Sacagawea for the PTA did not seem very important now. No matter what she did, Ramona always managed to spoil it. Unhappily, Beezus went on eating her chicken and peas. It was another one of those terrible times when she did not love her little sister. You mustn't let Ramona get you down, whispered Mother. Beezus did not answer. What a terrible girl she was not to love her little sister. How shocked and surprised Mother would be if she knew. Beezus, you look as if something is bothering you, remarked Aunt Beatrice. Beezus looked down at her plate. How could she ever tell such an awful thing? Why don't you tell us what is wrong, Aunt Beatrice suggested. Perhaps we could help. She sounded so interested and so understanding that Beezus discovered she really wanted to tell what was on her mind. Sometimes I just don't love Ramona, she blurted out to get it over with. There, she had said it right out loud, and on her birthday, too. Now everyone would know what a terrible girl she was. Oh, my goodness, is that all that bothers you? Mother sounds surprised. Beezus nodded miserably. Why, there's no reason why you should love Ramona all the time, Mother went on. After all, there are probably lots of times when she doesn't love you. Now it was Beezus's turn to be surprised and relieved at the same time. She wondered why she hadn't thought of it that way before. Aunt Beatrice smiled. Dorothy, she said to Mother, I think we talked about it with the class that this is the first time we've really heard that Ramona's mom is named Dorothy, just like in The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy, she said to her mother, do you remember the time She began to laugh so hard she could not finish the sentence. You took my doll with the beautiful yellow curls and dyed her hair with black shoe dye, finished Mother, and the two grown-up sisters went into gales of laughter. I didn't love you a bit after that time, admitted Mother. I was mad at you for days. And you were always so bossy because you were older, said Aunt Beatrice. I sure didn't love you at all when you were supposed to take me to school and make me walk about 6 feet behind you because you didn't want people to know you had to look after me. Mother! Exclaimed Beezus in shocked delight. Did I do that? Laughed Mother. I had forgotten all about it. What else did Mother do? Beezus asked eagerly. Hip hip hooray. She was terribly fussy, said Aunt Beatrice. We had to share a room, and she used to get mad because I was untidy. That means messy. Once she threw all my paper dolls into the wastebasket because I had left them on her side of the dresser. That was another time we didn't love each other. Fascinated, Beezus hoped this interesting conversation would continue. Imagine Mother and Aunt Beatrice quarreling? Hip, hip, hooray! Oh, but the worst thing of all, said Mother. Remember? I'll never forget, exclaimed Aunt Beatrice, as if she knew what Mother was talking about. Wasn't I awful? Perfectly terrible, agreed Mother, wiping her eyes because she was laughing so hard. What happened, begged Beezus, who could not wait to find out what dreadful thing Aunt Beatrice had done when she was a girl. Mother, tell what happened. It all began when girls began to take autograph albums to school, began Mother, and then went off into another fit of laughter. Oh, Beatrice, you tell it. So an autograph album is like a place where you have people sign their name. A lot of you have gotten autograph albums when you've gone to Disneyland and you've had people at Disneyland sign a book. That's called an autograph album. Of course I wanted an autograph album too, continued Aunt Beatrice. Beezus nodded because she too had an autograph album. Well, your mother, who was always very sensible, saved her allowance and bought a beautiful album with a red cover stamped in gold. How I envied her. As soon as your Aunt Beatrice got her allowance, she always ran right over to the school store and spent it, added Mother. Yes, and on the most awful junk, agreed Aunt Beatrice. Licorice whips and pencils that were square instead of round, and I don't know what all. Yes, but what about the autograph album, Beezus asked. Well, I'm almost ashamed to tell it, said Aunt Beatrice. Oh, go on, urged Mother. It's priceless. Well, when I saw your mother with that brand new autograph album that she bought because she was so sensible, I was annoyed because I wanted one too, and I hadn't saved my allowance. And then she asked me if I'd like to sign my name in it. It was my night to set the table, added Mother. I never should have left her alone with it. But what happened? Beezus could hardly wait to find out. I sat down at the desk and picked up a pen, planning to write on the last page. By hook or by crook, I'll be the last in your book, said Aunt Beatrice. Oh, did people write that in those days too? Beezus was surprised because she thought this was something very new to write in an autograph album. But I didn't write it, continued Aunt Beatrice. I just sat there wishing I had an autograph album. And then I took the pen and wrote my name on every single page in the book. Aunt Beatrice, you didn't. Not in Mother's brand new autograph album. Beezus was horrified and delighted at the same time. What a terrible thing to do. Hey, to me, that's just like Ramona when she wrote her name in all those pages of that book. She certainly did, said Mother, and not just plain Beatrice Haswell either. She wrote Beatrice Ann Haswell, Miss B. Haswell, B.A. Haswell, Esquire, and anything else she could think of. When she couldn't think of any more ways to write her name, she started all over again. Oh, Aunt Beatrice, how perfectly awful, exclaimed Beezus with a touch of admiration in her voice. Admire, hip, hip, hooray. Yes, wasn't it? Agreed Aunt Beatrice. I don't know what got into me. And what did Mother do? Inquired Beezus, eager for the whole story. Hip, hip, hooray again. We had a dreadful quarrel. Hip, hip, hooray again. And I got spanked, said Aunt Beatrice. Your mother didn't love me one little bit for a long, long time. And I wouldn't admit it, but I felt terrible because I had spoiled her autograph album. Fortunately, Christmas came along about that time, and we were both given albums, and that put an end to the whole thing. Why, thought Beezus, Aunt Beatrice used to be every bit as awful as Ramona. And yet, look how nice she is now. Beezus could scarcely believe it. And now Mother and Aunt Beatrice, who had quarreled when they were girls, hip, hip, hooray, loved each other and thought the things they had done were funny. They actually laughed about it. Well, maybe when she was grown up, she would think it was funny that Ramona had put eggshells in one birthday cake and baked her rubber doll in another. Maybe she wouldn't think Ramona was so exasperating after all. Maybe that was the way things were with sisters. A lovely feeling of relief came over Beezus. What if she didn't love Ramona all the time? It didn't matter at all. She was just like any other sister. Mother, whispered Beezus, happier than she had felt in a long time. I hope Ramona comes back before we have my birthday cake. Don't worry, Mother said, smiling. I'm sure she wouldn't miss it for anything. And sure enough, in a few minutes, Ramona appeared from the bedroom and took her place at the table. I can behave myself, she said. It's about time, observed Father. Beezus watched Ramona eating her cold mashed potatoes and jelly and thought how much easier things would be now that she could look at her sister when she was exasperating and think, ha ha, Ramona, this is one of those times when I don't have to love you. Girls with birthdays don't have to help clear the table, said Mother, beginning to carry out the dishes. Beezus waited expectantly for the most important moment of the day. She heard her mother take the cake out of its box and strike a match to light the candles. Oh, she breathed happily when Mother appeared at the doorway with the cake in her hands. It was the most beautiful cake she had ever seen, pink with a wreath of white flowers made of icing and 10 pink candles that threw a soft glowing light on Mother's face. Happy birthday to you, sang Mother and Father and Aunt Beatrice and Ramona. Happy birthday, dear Beezus. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish, said Father. Beezus paused a minute. Then she closed her eyes and thought, I wish all my birthdays would turn out to be as wonderful as this one finally did. She opened her eyes and blew as hard as she could. Your wish is granted, cried Aunt Beatrice, smiling across the 10 smoking candles. Happy birthday, dear Beezus! Happy birthday to you, sang Ramona at the top of her voice. All right, Ramona, said Mother with a touch of exasperation in her voice. Once is enough. But at that moment, Beezus did not think her little sister was exasperating at all. And if you remember, all is the last word. And so this is the end.